Hello students, today we're going to be talking about finding the slope in your algebra class. So, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to determine the slope given a line or set of ordered pairs. So, to give us a quick definition, finding the slope is equal or is the same as finding the rate of change. And the way that we do that is to find the vertical change and divide that by the horizontal change. You often hear it as rise over run, or rise divided by run. Now if we look at the picture on the bottom left, it gives us a steamboat going up an incline. Now we read from left to right. So as we read or as we look at this picture going from left to right, we'll notice that it's going upwards. So therefore this slope is a positive slope. Okay, again, because from left to right it's going upwards. If we look at this hill, it's going from left to right, it's going downwards. So we say that this thing has a negative slope. Now, before we get started, let's look at a quick exercise to help us get better at finding slope. Now, in number 1, it says, give me the directions from point A to point B. For example, right 4, up 6. So as we go from here, from point A to point B, you'll notice that we went up 1, 2, 3 points, and we went to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So notice, looking at the picture, we just gave it directions. Up 1, 2, 3, and right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up 3, right 5. Same thing for example 2. We're going to go down 1 and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, as easy as it was for us to determine how many spaces we're going up or down or left or right, this is how easy it should be for us to find the slope. So, to give us a couple more, or a little bit more help in terms of finding out what a slope is, we're going to look at this Excel spreadsheet. Now, if you'll look at the picture from left to right, this line is going downwards, hence it's a negative slope. And that's what this box in yellow means right here. Notice that the number inside the yellow box is negative, hence it's a negative slope. So if we put 1, for example, you'll notice that this line goes up at a rate of 1. If we change it to 2, goes up by 2, but it's a little bit more steep than the other one. If we change it to 3, and if we change it to 5, you'll notice as the number gets bigger, the slope or the incline of our line gets bigger, or it gets higher at a faster rate. Now, if we change it to a negative 2, for example, you'll notice that the line changes. Before it was going upwards, now it's going downwards. So if it's downwards, the slope is negative. Let's try another one, say negative 3. Notice that as the number increases in size, the graph's incline increases even more. So if we change this to negative 9, you'll see how quickly the line goes downwards. And if we change it to a positive 9, you'll see how quickly it goes upwards. Now, let's try finding slope for a couple specific examples. To solve this first example, we are going to need to look at the points. So in the first example, or in the warm-up, they gave us the points to choose. In this instance, they don't do that. So we're going to need to look for where this graph crosses the crosshairs, if you will, where the x and y values meet. For example, in between where this little cross hits, that's what we're looking for. Now, as we trace this line, we're looking for where it crosses. So, it crosses here once, and it crosses here again. So all we're going to do is just give directions, just like we did on the warm-up. To get from this point to this point, we had to go down 1, 2, 3 points. We do that in a different color. We have to go down 1, 2, 3 points, and to the right one. Now because slope, which we use m to represent slope, and we use m because if we were to use s, it could be easily mistaken for a 5. So slope is m, and in order for us to do this, we have to use rise over run. So we rose -3, and it's a -3 because we went down 3. So 1, 2, 3 down. And we ran 1, and it's a +1 because we moved to the right. Now, for the second example where they give us an ordered pair, I'm going to show you 2 different methods. The first way is the more traditional way. The second way is the way I like to teach it because I think it tends to be faster and more efficient. So, what we're going to do is use the traditional formula that you often see it as. Okay, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now just to clarify, the subnotation, or the small numbers if you will, are merely just markers for specific points. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the points they gave us, which are A is -2, 1, and B is 6, 7. Now, what we want to start off doing, especially since it's our first time, is we want to label what all of these things are. So, we're going to label the first x, x sub 1, x sub 1. And you can label it in any order, we just need to make sure we're consistent. So I chose the first one because that's the first one I saw. So -2 is x sub 1. That would mean 1 is y sub 1. 6 is x sub 2. And 7 is y sub 2. And they merely mark the first set of x's, second set of x's, first set of y's, and second set of y's. So now that we've labeled it, all we need to do is use the appropriate formula. So we're going to just substitute the values in. First of all, our y sub 2 is 7 minus 1, because 7 is our y sub 2, and 1 is our y sub 1. X sub 2 is 6 minus, and if you notice our x sub 1, that's -2. When you solve that, we get 7 minus 1 is 6. And 6 minus -2 becomes 6 plus 2, which is 8. So we get 6/8 or 3/4. Or 3/4 is our answer. Now if we show you the more shortcut way, here's how this works. It's really important to notice that we always have to do, or this next part, we always have to do our y's on the top, our x's on the bottom. So from 1 to 7, we had to add 6. Notice we did the arrow on top, so our number is going to be on the top. To do -2 to 1, -2 to 6, we had to add 8. Now, because we did it that way, where our y's are on the numerator, our x's on the denominator, we have 6/8 or 3. We have 3/4, which is the same exact answer as we did in the first method, but I tend to think the second way is a lot more efficient.